Obviously, we had a primary night in Texas, and there was a lot that transpired. So let's talk about it. Attorney General Ken Paxton got one step closer to finally getting John Cornyn out of office. The dinosaur John Cornyn, RINO John Cornyn, out of office where he belongs. He needs to be put out to pasture. And there is now going to be a runoff between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. And I would just like to, let's just play some of this stream of Paxton's watch party.
Well, you know, John Cornyn said he was concerned about a bunch of radicals who were going to show up to vote today. It looks like you all showed up.
So I don't know if you guys noticed the cameo. Did you notice the cameo? If we could just, there. Hey, there we are, Steven. Look.
Yep.
We're there. We were there.
We were.
Okay, guys, I have to tell you a little bit of inside baseball here. I was up on that stage and I turned to everyone behind us and I was like, listen, hold. You just follow my lead, okay? We're going to be excited because we're going to be on TV. And I don't feel like they did not understand.
They did not. And she absolutely said that.
I did. I was like, listen. Yeah, this is not for the crowd right there. This is who was very hyped up, the crowd in front of us, in the audience. This is for the cameras.
Like, we pulled the wrong people up.
Yes.
We pulled the wrong people up.
For real. I was just like, guys, where is the energy? I get it. It's like, it's been kind of a long night and everyone's tired, but like, look alive here, people. They did not understand the assignment, but we did. Okay. We did. And so it was an honor to speak at Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's event. I'm going to be honest, like I didn't think John Cornyn would get as many votes as he did. However, he certainly should not feel emboldened at all. It was not a decisive night for him at all, which is why it is so frustrating that today's news is that President Trump now wants to get involved in our runoff in the state of Texas. And I'm going to be real clear with you as I walk through this, as I navigate through this. No one, like you could find me few people who have been so outspoken for this president. I've obviously been a huge supporter of this president, despite being called all sorts of things. So I'm not going to be accused of like going anti-Trump, but what I will say is I take personal offense to anyone within the federal government who wants to try to come in and manipulate a Texas election. I don't appreciate it. Now President Trump wants to pick the winner. He posted on Truth Social today, both John and Ken ran great races, but not good enough. Now this one must be perfect. My endorsements within the Republican Party have been virtually insurmountable. It is such an honor to realize and say that almost everyone I endorse wins and wins by a lot, especially in Texas. I will be making my endorsement soon and will be asking the candidate that I don't endorse to immediately drop out of the race. Is that fair? We must win in November. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So the rumor on the street is that it's Cornyn. In fact, I mean, as of the time of this taping, it has not been. But the way that the president posted this Truth Social post made it sound like this endorsement was imminent. Now, I have a couple questions about that. Number one, why would you post that an endorsement was imminent? If you have an endorsement, just give it. And why didn't you make that endorsement before the primary? Like if someone is your guy, which it should be Ken Paxton, because there is no one who has been more loyal to the president in an official position and capacity than Ken Paxton. He took a bunch of political daggers for it too, when it came to the 2020 election that we all know was not the safest and most secure election of all time. So to have the president saying he is going to immediately call for whoever he does not endorse to step out of the race and to hear the rumors that the person that he is about to endorse is going to be John Cornyn is extremely troubling to me. It is extremely troubling to me, especially when let's just look at the voting results from last night alone. By the way, as of the time of this taping, I do believe that there are still some votes out there. So these are estimates, okay? But when we were able to pull them right now, as we are taping, John Cornyn, total votes, 864,861. Now that is out of a total of all of them, over 2 million votes. So 2,072,580. All right. Out of those, John Cornyn only got 864,000, almost 865. We'll give him that. We'll round up for John Cornyn. Okay. He needs the help. That's obviously not a majority. That's why they're going into the runoff. So let's just do simple math here. Total votes over 2 million. All of the other people combined who voted against John Cornyn is 1.2 million, which is a higher number than John Cornyn received. Now, the difference between the amount of votes that John Cornyn got and the amount of votes that Ken Paxton got is what? 15,000? 16,000? I'm sorry. And the other guy and Ken Paxton should drop out over that many votes, especially when you consider, look at Wesley Hunt right there. Especially when you consider that you're talking about a difference of a handful of votes. Well, Wesley Hunt in and of himself got 278,065 votes just for him. You want to combine Ken Paxton and Wesley Hunt because these were the top three contenders. Ken Paxton, John Cornyn, and Wesley Hunt. If you take Paxton and Hunt combined, which were both very strong votes against John Cornyn, you have over 1.1 million votes. So over 1.1 million voters voted for Ken Paxton or Wesley Hunt, both of which were a vote against John Cornyn. John Cornyn did not even crack 1 million. And you mean to tell me that President Trump should endorse someone who did not receive nearly 60% of the Republican electorate voted against John Cornyn last night. And that was after John Cornyn spent almost $100 million when you count up how much his PAC spent and how much his campaign spent. $100 million by John Cornyn only to barely get that many votes? Only to show that the overwhelming majority of Texas Republicans don't want John Cornyn? Texas Attorney General Paxton spent a fraction of the money that John Cornyn spent. $4 million Ken Paxton spent. $4 million, $4 measly million to John Cornyn's Senate super PAC bullshit fund where he just gets to spend endless amounts of money. Think about how far that money could have gone in some other state's race rather than trying to save this RINO shitty Republican John Cornyn. Now, take the voting results aside for a moment, because that in and of itself is enough for President Trump to say, I'm not going to get involved and interfere in Texans' elections. They have a runoff for a reason. Let it play out. In and of itself, set that aside, okay? Let's also dive into, I know if you live in Texas, you've seen these commercials that are like, John Cornyn sides with President, John Cornyn votes with President Trump 99% of the time. John Cornyn stands with President Trump at the border. You're going to be shocked to hear it's all lies. It's all manipulation and deceit. And on top of that, John Cornyn was about as anti-Trump as you could get before it was beneficial to pretend like he likes President Trump. So just to remind everyone, this was John Cornyn about the 2024, this is not 2020, this is not 2016, this is the 2024 election. Here's what John Cornyn had to say about President Trump's potential presidential run. Watch.
John Cornyn, the Texas Republican, says former President Donald Trump cannot win the 2024 general election for president and that the GOP needs to find a candidate who can actually win. In a call with Texas reporters today, Senator Cornyn said, quote, I think President Trump's time has passed him by. He goes on to say, I don't think President Trump understands that when you run in a general election, you have to appeal to voters beyond your base.
This guy is as anti-Trump as you can get. I could go on. If I had the time, I would do an entire show of just receipts about John Cornyn shitting all over Trump's border policy, saying it's naive to think that you could build a border wall. I mean, I could go on. This guy is not America first. He is only playing the part to get through the primary. And so for President Trump to even think for 1 second that he should stab one of his most loyal supporters in the back to go for this guy? No. He would lose a lot of respect from me, and I know he would lose a lot of respect from a lot of Texans here who have fought very hard to get that seat back to an actual Republican who will vote for us.
Sarah, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you think Trump likes Mitch McConnell right now and what he's doing?
No.
What do you think John Cornyn's going to do for 6 years when he doesn't have to run again?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. He's not loyal. He's not going to do what you want him to do if he doesn't feel like it once he gets what he wants. And on top of that, President Trump, John Cornyn gets an F from his Liberty score. He has an F. He's not a conservative. He has a failing grade. He wants amnesty. Let's go through some of his voting record, okay? He passed the Inflation Reduction Act. He wanted to redefine marriage. He funded the endless war in Ukraine. He funded vaccine mandates. He was very quick to pass Joe Biden's massive omnibus bill. And by the way, on top of that, Joe Biden loved John Cornyn because John Cornyn was all for Joe Biden actually trying to go after your Second Amendment rights. John Cornyn was instrumental in Joe Biden's red flag shit. And by the way, he did vote to confirm Dick Levine for Assistant Secretary of HHS because a guy can't even tell what gender he is. He definitely should be in charge of people's health in this country. I'm trying to be like as calm as possible, but I just can't. I can't. Please, for the love of God, President Trump, you'd be better off just sitting this one out. The people of Texas have had enough. We need our seat back. This dinosaur has had it for too damn long. And I got to be honest with you. If you think that just because you post a Truth Social post saying, hey, grassroots conservatives, you should actually vote for the guy that you can't stand, nearly 60% of you guys can't stand, we're not going to do it. And I have a feeling, I don't know it to be a fact, I have a feeling if I know Ken like I think I do, he's not going to drop out. He's the only fighter that we have in this state. He's not going to drop out because you say Texans should just be happy with John Cornyn because he knows that we deserve better. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.